Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we are looking at the first Battle Pass devlog for the new season of the Battle Pass. Obviously the season right now, which includes the elephant, is going to be done in the next week or so. It basically has about 6 days left, and that means we're going to have a look at some of the new vehicles and some of the new challenges later on, which will be coming to the next season of the Battle Pass. The first devlog is for the Type T-51A. Now, this is going to be a Japanese torpedo boat. It is going to be at rank 3 and is going to be a full premium. Now, in-game, we already have the Type T-51B, so this one is going to be very similar to it. The major difference between them, this one has premium and the other one doesn't, which is pretty much the main reason why you would want this. Overall, I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed with this one. The T-51 is definitely not the best vehicle because of its setup when it comes to its guns, but overall, at least it's nice to see that they're putting in a new vehicle for the Battle Pass. We'll have to see if they stick with the 3 vehicles that they put in on the last Battle Pass. If this vehicle is the only naval one, I think there might be a slight disappointment when it comes to it. Let's get into the history of this vehicle. The ideas behind the German E-boats became pretty interesting to military authorities around the world, and the Japanese naval military was no exception. In 1941, a project of an all-metal torpedo boat appeared that repeated the German pre-war E-boats with its layout. The power plant of the boat consisted of 4 Type 76 No. 6 engines, which were copies of the Italian Isota engines, combined into 2 groups using a fluid coupling. Massive engines, as well as the use of heavier hull alloy than on the E-boats, led to an excess of the design displacement from 80 to 90 tons. As a result, only one prototype, the Type T-51A boat, was built, and the lighter B version went to a larger series. By the end of the Second World War, out of 18 boats of the T-51 project ordered at the shipyards, only 8 were actually completed, with another 2 hulls built. So when looking at this machine, there are a few positives, but the emphasis is unfortunately on the few. As somebody who has spaded out the standard T-51, the T-51B that you can find in the tech tree, I definitely have to say that the time that I played in it was not very fun, and I feel like when it comes to the actual premium version of it from the Battle Pass, it's going to be one of those vehicles that many forget pretty quickly. The only massive nice thing about it is that it's a premium, and being a premium at rank 3, you can research the vast majority of the naval coastal tech tree for Japan pretty efficiently. And there is actually some pretty nice vehicles in there for Japan. You know, you got the Ikazuchi, the Chikugo, the Sionen can be a bit of fun, especially when you couldn't kill the damn thing, when its damage model was ridiculous. There are also some other machines which can be quite fun, like the Type K3 No. 1 and Type K7. Basically, these are just vehicles which are large, but they have 4 twin 40s on the front of them, so you can just rat-a-tat-a-tat people with them. And overall, you know, when it comes to the Japanese tree, there is a lot of vehicles that could definitely be added, which, you know, could actually be easily researched by this vehicle. The problem with this vehicle is the same problem that it has with its other machine. It's set up to more kill destroyers, but the problem is this thing doesn't face destroyers. It is at 2.3 when it comes to its battle rating. So if you get a full up tier in it, then you'll face the reserve destroyers. And yes, you may be able to get a few kills, but the vast majority of the time, you aren't going to get a full up tier, and you're going to be facing coastal boats, which have more general armament than you, and also are set up much better to kill you. They're also more maneuverable than you, and also faster than you. So the stuff that it faces is not great. And then even if you compare it to facing destroyers, with the torpedoes that it has, the torpedoes are really nice for killing destroyers, but one of the things that has to be noted is you have to get pretty close to the destroyers, or you need the destroyers to not be paying attention. And as somebody who plays destroyers and does pay attention, therefore killing things like the T-51 is very, very easy to do. What ends up happening is maybe they get some torpedoes off, then as long as they're not that close, you're able to dodge them. If you're paying attention to the map, they should never get close to you. And then also at the same time, one of the things to note about the T-51 is it isn't exactly the fastest machine, and it's also quite large for a torpedo boat. So those main caliber guns on destroyers, it is quite easy to hit it compared to other machines. And once again, if you just hit it once, it will just kill it. So its main use when it comes to War Thunder doesn't really work very well. You know, the destroyer matchup against coastal boats has never worked very well and will never work very well. The major issue with it, though, and this is the massive major issue, and this is what made the T-51B in the standard tech tree very annoying to use. Its main guns, its main cannons, which remember, when it comes to cannons, they are the thing that you use the most when it comes to dealing with other coastal vessels. You know, torpedoes are nice, especially in arcade, to be able to block off areas. They're great to be able to finish off targets if they're going slow, if they have an engine out, or to be able, once again, to throw at spawns to hopefully catch something. The cannons are the way that you generally deal with stuff. Well, this thing has a twin set of 25mm. So the one in the standard tech tree has a triple set of them. So already the T-51A is worse than T-51B. It has one less gun, basically taking away a third of its firepower when it comes to attacking other things. And that's not really the issue. You know, 225s is still fine. You know, not as good as 3, but good enough. The major issue with this thing is it has a gun shield around it, which means that it cannot shoot forward. It cannot hardly even shoot to the side. So in order to be able to attack vessels, you need to point this gun or point its behind to the enemy to be able to hit them. Now, this isn't always that bad. If you are going away from an enemy, that generally means that it's going to be harder for them to hit you, and if they're coming into you, then it's very much easier to hit them. But at the same time, it's counterintuitive, because in order to use your torpedoes, you need to be aiming at the enemy, and in order to use your gun, you need to be aiming away from the enemy. So whatever you do, you are going to be limiting your capabilities to be able to kill the enemy. So yeah, it's just an annoying machine to use is the way to put it. And as a Battle Pass vehicle, I think many people are going to be kind of annoyed by this one. Generally, when it comes to naval stuff, what you get for Battle Passes or events is copies of other vehicles and just generally slightly different versions. And this one is no different. You know, it's very similar to something we already have. The major problem in that regard, though, when it comes to this machine, is the fact that a lot of people are going to see this as a depreciation, once again, of the Battle Pass. And after the last seasons, which, in my opinion, when it comes to the vehicles and also the general theme, it was probably one of the weakest which we've had. Now having this machine as the first vehicle to look at, or even a vehicle to do with it, that's only going to further the negativity that some people have when it comes to the Battle Pass itself. Now for me, just having something extra to do alongside of normal grinding is nice to have. Having extra vehicles is cool to have, but you do need a hook, line and sinker for other people, and this is definitely not it. Hopefully, when it comes to the aircraft and the ground one, there'll be a bit more of a hook, but the T-51 in its general look is not going to be that. It's slow for a PT boat, it's less maneuverable, it is easy to kill as well because it's larger than most. It only has 225s compared to 40s and 50 cals, which many other have, and its major use it doesn't even do, and in-game doesn't work very well, obviously seeking going after destroyers. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Nicholas Richardson, Elove Goat, Pyman675, Winter Scientist, Merciless Reaper, Jerry Prevolt, Megadino King, Orange Tail, Teddy, John Ryman, Universe, Ambrosius McClellan, Daniel Stanton, Moxie, B. Young, Uncle Bean, Sem Arslan, Derek R., Bareen, Lafouche, and Samuel Slick for supporting the channel.